the same. So we are not ready to uh, allow Russians to kill and rape us. So it's no question. So Russians are ready to suffer from their police, from their militaries, because they suppress, they have totalitarian regime. And we see that Russian police beat people for political protest, and all other people, okay, but in Ukraine not. So we are not ready to how to say, to live in such life, and that's why. So now we will fight until our victory. So question from Leslie: what are you going to do after Hey Go? Leslie, Instagram and YouTube channel, I hope. So then questions. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for tipping. And yeah, so then about and thank you, Kate and Beverly. So again, let's talk about crisis situation. So that was the big problem with high level of fear and anxiety. A question from Sue: do you have a Facebook page, email? Yes. Yes, Sue. I have a Facebook page. You can see it on HeyGo information about me, and so it's called Olena Goncharuk, like on HeyGo. A question from Mary: what is your YouTube channel? Mary, it's not ready yet. I will learn how to create it, and I will make it in future, and I will publish information on a Facebook group. Okay, how to survive during very crisis situation. So first, it's necessary to take care of health, because this very high level of anxiety causes very big problems with health, and all chronic diseases gets acute. And so first of all, it's necessary to take care of medicines uh, in any crisis situation. Maybe it's kind of flooding or some earthquake or something like that, some natural disasters. First of all, it's always necessary to have uh, all medicines you need for your treatment. Thank you, Linda, for tipping. And because when the war started, David, thank you for tipping. Because the war started, lots of pharmacies were closed. Food, it's so. In some areas there were empty shelves, but in some regions it would possible to buy food. For example, in the area I live, we had some deficit, but we could buy food, so we were not hungry, and so there was, of course, some deficit. We had no meat, but we could buy, for example, some fish or some herring or vegetables, fruits, so everything like this. And question from Lisa: is life kind of normal now in Kiev? Lisa, yes. It sounds very strange, but everywhere lots of people walking around. Today is very nice day. Of course, sometimes we have air raid alert, and we are strongly recommended to go to a shelter. But in general, Kiev is okay. A question from Sue: do you have power all the time now? Power, Sue, do you mean electricity? If electricity, yes. So the last month, everything is okay, because city authorities fixed it, and the last month is okay. A question from Beverly: does the government help financially? Only for internally displaced people, those who came from eastern and southern Ukraine, where heavy battles take place. And for example, in Kiev, 230,000 internally displaced people live, and so they get government help. All other people not. So even those who stayed in Kyiv, so we've got, it seems that we've got $150 in March, something like that, because Kyiv was the area where military battles took place, and that's it. So $150 I've got one time. And question from Beverly. So no income for you as a tour guide? Yes, Beverly. So no, almost no tourism for the last year, but now it's interesting that people started to travel a little bit. So Beverly, I published on my Facebook that I was guiding tours to Cherkasy, Chigorin, and other places. Not many tourists, but a little bit help. But also I have two diplomas. I'm not only tour guide. I also have a second diploma of psychologist, and so I had a job, and now I work part time as psychologist. So the salary is quite low, but it's okay. It's much better than nothing. Yeah, but of course, tour guiding was my main income. Because it's much better paid than psychologist. Psychologists usually very low paid, but for me it's okay because I can buy food, some to pay some municipal payments, and my husband also has part-time job, and that's why so we live together. So in general, it's enough to survive, and I mean just for food, for municipal, for transport, something like that. Yes, Beverly is, and so well. Also, questions. Yes, oh, so many, so many questions. Yeah, thank you for all your tips, because so many questions, and I want to tell you so much information. Question from Paul: do you see a difference between Putin and common Russian people? Paul, it's very difficult questions. It's very difficult question, because I used to work with Russian tourists before 2014, and I can say that there are lots of people who are very clever, educated, really good middle class people. And of course, lots of them protest against the war. But it's necessary to remember that all Russians, even if they protest against the war, all of them really trust in their Russian Empire. So it's history. So when Russian Empire started to grow, every Russian child knows that Russia is a big country, that Russia is empire. And so maybe the problem of Russians, so they underestimated Ukrainians, and the problem of Ukrainians that we underestimated this Russian imperial ideas. Putin created totalitarian regime, and Putin fights not only with Ukrainians. They fight also with Russian people, because they also suppress, they kill Russian people. They do the same, like in Ukraine. But why Russian people don't protest? Ask them. I don't know why, because in Ukraine, if police started to beat people during Euromaidan revolutions, all people protested, and we managed to change the power for democratic power. Russian police, army, they do the same in Russia. They rape people, they kill people, they torture them in prisons. But Russians don't protest. Why? The main reason is that they want to save this Russian empire. And it's impossible to save empire to be a democratic state, only authoritarian or totalitarian. So I can say that in general there are of course lots of good Russian people, very clever, yeah, and very pacific, but they are ready to suffer from their own police and from Putin, from their government, and they don't want to protest. I don't know why. I really don't know. It's a very big question for me. Question from LT: did you say that you don't trust Zelensky? Yes, LT. It's correct because I know that lots of Ukrainian people and abroad consider him a hero. And I know some guys on Kyiv consider him a hero, but me not. Because I was here in Ukraine all this time. He is a good guy. He has lots of really good traits, but I don't trust him because he told nothing Ukrainian people on the eve of the war. He told, "Don't panic. There will be no war." But later he told, "Oh, we knew everything." If you knew everything, why didn't you tell to Ukrainians? That's why I don't trust him. It's really very painful because many people died and lost their health because they were not ready to that. A question from CD: in your opinion, where the disaster relief organizations were effective? Uh, Disaster relief organizations, you mean those who helped Ukraine, like Red Cross, UNICEF? Yes, I think they were very effective, and they collect lots of money and they do lots of job here. And we're really very thankful for all international organizations who help Ukraine because their help was really very big. Yes, it's even no questions. So that international help is really very strong here, and we are really in Ukraine grateful to everybody who helps in different way. Okay, Kate, if Ukraine falls to Russia, then Putin will advance westward. We won't stop until he reaches the English Channel. Yes, it's empire, it's imperial idea. Yeah, so then, um, okay, let's see. I see questions. Yes, thank you, Mike, Kristen, Beverly for tipping. Thank you. Question from Lisa: do you have an apartment? Yes, Lisa, I have my own apartment, as most of Ukrainians have. So lots of people rent apartments, but lots of people have their own apartment, and so happily everything is okay with my house because lots of houses were damaged, especially in Kiev region and in eastern Ukraine, because Kharkov, for example, have destroyed such small towns as Severodonetsk, Lysychansk, Bakhmut totally destroyed. So everything was destroyed. In Kiev, there were lots of destroying, but in different areas. So it's also dependent on the area. Question from Beverly: why did you choose to stay in Kiev? So good question, Beverly. So I can say you that in crisis situation, you don't know how would you behave. Before the war, I thought, of course, I will go away. I'm scared of this war. But when the war started, I decided to stay. I don't, I don't know why. So because first day I had to go to my job. So as I told you, I have part-time job as a psychologist. And so the second day, when a really heavy battle started, I really was scared to go somewhere, because we knew information that those people who moved were killed by Russians. And so then I decided to stay. So then I have a husband, so I couldn't leave him and go without him. So then I didn't manage to go to my job for 2 weeks because we had to stay at home. It was not allowed to go outside, and it was difficult because public transport didn't work. And so it's really difficult questions, but it seems that I couldn't go. It was my personal decision. Yeah, and so it's quite bad experience, but I decided to stay. I don't know why, but I love this country. I love this city, and I really understood that maybe this city needs my help. Of course, if Russians captured Kiev, of course, I think I would go away because I couldn't live during Russian occupation. But happily, nothing happened. So Kiev survived. But really, it was kind of a good luck because those people who lived in Irpin, Bucha, Hostomel, lots of them were killed because they didn't have enough information. So it's necessary to check all independent experts and not to trust politicians. So because it's good luck, Beverly, it's very bad feeling when you feel helpless. You understand that you can do nothing. Russian missile kill you or not kill. It was good luck. Thank you, CD Glennis, for tipping. Yes, Beverly, and the entire population couldn't move. Different reasons, and for some period of time, I felt safer in Kiev than outside because Russian rockets hit every part of Ukraine, every part. But I knew that here it was air raid, so air defense system, and so that's why I thought that it would be better. And of course, there were some people who needed my help, and I couldn't leave them. So it's it's life. So you never know how people behave in crisis situation. But my advice is, if you can, to learn something about survival during terror attacks, earthquakes, some emergency situations, floods, something like this. If you have enough information, it's easier to make right decisions, and that's it. And because when the war started, we had lots of fakes, lots of information, and you didn't know whom to believe. It was. A question from Beverly: is your husband fighting? No, Beverly. He walked. Yes, he walked, and now he also has part-time work. But I know lots of my colleagues and friends who came to the army voluntarily. Some of them died, unfortunately. Yeah. I, and yes, Linda. We can plan, but we don't know how we would react in a crisis situation. Yeah, it's the main. So, and it seems that everybody behave like he can do the best for themselves. But when the war started, lots of people, when trying to escape, unfortunately were killed by Russians, because when this front line moved to Kiev, so lots of video in internet when Russians killed civilians, and one Jewish leader, I don't know, it seems Golda Meir or somebody else, told that if enemy comes to kill you, believe that he would kill you, and run away, fight, or try to escape, do something. And don't trust that enemy will have a pity to you. So this is the main conclusion from this war. Enemy doesn't have pity to other people. They are ready to kill because they go to kill. Yes, Leslie. Question. Would you post your new guide and whatever address so we could keep up with you and your country? Also, how can we continue to tip you? Leslie, I created account on Buy Me a Coffee. And so I will publish it on a Facebook virtual travel. And thank you, Susan. Thank you. Question from Sue: do you have family there? Only a husband. So my family lives in the western Ukraine. Sometimes I visit them, but in general, most of them live in the western Ukraine. Question from Lisa: I thought all men under 60 had to serve in army. Lisa, uh, about 15. It seems that at least 15 million men in Ukraine, but army is not so big. That's why we have uh, limits of army, because army are militaries and it's necessary to give them salary, equipment, weapon, everything. And that's why lots of men uh, came to army, but of course not all of them, because it's impossible. If we had army of 12 million people, we could easily win the first day. Yeah, but it's very complicated situation. Yeah. Okay, so then question from Lisa: what's your Facebook name? Olena Goncharuk, like on Heygo, the same. Yeah. Yeah, Beverly. Okay, so question from Akash. So Soviets are crazy. That the impact of clever reporting by the media. I agree. On Russia has been aggressive, but why war? Think while you can. Akash, we frankly speaking, if somebody told us 20 years ago, even not 20, even in 2013, that somewhere we would have the war with Russia, nobody believed, because the economical and cultural ties were so strong, and that was the first shock was 2014 when Russia captured Crimea and started the war in eastern Ukraine. And so then even later, people didn't believe in this full scale invasion, but it happened. So nobody knows. As some Russian writer told that you can't understand Russians by your mind. It's necessary to feel them. They have very irrational thinking. Now they have 200,000 of human losses. Their human losses are really very big, but they don't stop. What does it mean? It means that Russian regime also kills Russian people, not only Ukrainians, but also Russians. But they continue to do this. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So my Facebook Olena Goncharuk. Yeah, Slava Ukraini, Героям Slava, Kate. So 1 hour left, and I didn't tell you everything I wanted. Okay, so on Monday I will do one more tour for those people who live in Australia or some those countries, because of time differences. They can watch tours on Heygo only during morning. And yes, Linda, on Monday at noon I will do the last tour on Heygo, and uh, Beverly, yes. But if you have maybe 5 or 10 minutes more, I will talk because I have so many information. Yeah. Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, thank you. About survival in crisis situation. So first, it's also necessary Beverly, I also love you. Really, it's very big pleasure for me to talk to you. How to survive in crisis situation? Question from Paul: can we see the park around you while you talk? Yes, yes, sure, Paul. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Yeah, I'll show you a park. How to survive during a very big crisis situation? It's very important to think about health and to take care of yourself as much as possible. And because the problem is that when the war started, lots of services didn't work. It was difficult to go to a hospital or to get some social help or something like this. Good preparation, for example, having medicines at home and having food at home also was really very important. Also it's necessary to take care of your neighbors. It's necessary to ask and to know who lives uh, near your apartment or in your courtyard. And because when the war started, all people helped each other. In such a way, people managed uh, to help and live better. Yes, yes, Linda. It was really a big problem because all hospitals worked, but you know that many doctors couldn't get to their job, and clinical diseases couldn't get help. It's necessary to know about your health and buy all necessary medicines in advance because many pharmacies were also closed. Thank you, John, for tipping. Yeah, thank you, Erin. Well, I will show you this park. And so Thank you, thank you, Glenis. Yeah, this is the last 5 minutes of this tour. I'll show you this park. What else? Also food, because when the war started, I couldn't eat no appetite at all. I'm quite slim and I lost some kilos. And not only me, but also other people. And because of this, it was very big weakness. So it was difficult to stand up in the morning and also to go somewhere. So it's necessary to eat, but it's impossible. And that's why uh, I think it's necessary to cook some food that is easy to cook and keep your health um, keep your health good because 2 weeks later I felt very exhausted. And only when Russians moved away from Kiev region, so I started to eat, and it was a really very big problem for all people because the anxiety level was really very high. Um, this is this is a statue to the victims of a famine. Героям слава, Mary. Thank you for tipping. And so then, yeah. So the last minutes of this tour, and so what else? It's very important to be active because when we stay at home and there were shootings and shellings and you don't know what happened in the next hour, usually it's very difficult psychologically because some people told that I'm getting like crazy because of this situation when you don't know what happens, and that's why some people started to clean the apartments, to clean courtyards, do something. So stay active, and in such a way it helped them to live in such difficult conditions. So I was really wondered that some old ladies came outside to feed pets like cats, dogs, and they cleaned courtyard. Later, they started to plant flowers, and for them, it was easier to survive. Yes, fear of death. Yes, Kate. You live just in one moment, and that's it. Because you don't know what will happen. Not even tomorrow, but in 1 hour, and that's why not all people could stay in such condition, because you realize, for example, when I realized that I can do nothing, it's only good luck. I prayed, oh my god, if my luck, my fate is to die from Russian missile, okay, what can I do? And But not all people can stay in such a condition, so they need some safe place, and that's why a lot of people left the city. But it was okay, because every person wants to live and be in a safe place. So not many people who like war or some dangerous situations. But this chronic stress is really very exhausted, and so after after Russians came back from Kievan region, so the most difficult was to know about their atrocities. It was psychologically very difficult. Even now, I can't go to Irpin and Bucha. So I know that Olga from Marvelous Kiev, yes, that when she visited Kiev, she came to Irpin and Bucha, but I can't, because I saw these people in Kiev. It was really difficult to see all these how to say all these people who suffered, and it's necessary to be very strong psychologically, because lots of people couldn't see this, and so some people who can help, they are real heroes, because not all people can be in such a situation. Yeah, thank you, Kate. So last minute of this tour. So maybe probably on my YouTube channel or Instagram, I will do the same chat and talk tour, because it's not everything I wanted to tell you about 1 hour 7 minutes, and it may be difficult to listen. Okay, so anyway, I I really very happy that you were with me all this time. And yes, Beverly, this is for those who believe is only the path to heaven. Yeah, you are right. You are right, Beverly. So I think that one person has such kind of experience, it's quite bad, but anyway, it's experience to grow further. And not all people who survived are consider themselves victims. Thank you, Marcia, for tipping. So, because very often people from safe place, when they see people who stayed here, that they are victims or something like that. But I can say that we became much stronger, and it means that so it's experience in our life, and I can share my experience with other to help people and also to give them information how to be strong person, because in every war it's very important to stay psychologically strong, and I think that Ukrainians managed to do this. So we didn't panic because Russians planned that Ukrainians would panic and run away, and they would capture us very easily. But all Ukrainians really very strong, and I'm really proud to see these people who fight for Ukraine. It's really very difficult to see all these deaths, destroying damages, but anyway, it's kind of historical events, and sometimes not all people choose their fate in life. Of course, I wish I never had such kind of experience, but we have this. But anyway, we hope that this war will change all the world, because now we could see that. Despite of progress technologies in the 21st century, uh, such a big war, it sounds like nonsense, but it's our reality. So well, thank you for being with me. This is the end of this tour, and thank you for all your donations, tipping. I'm really happy to be with you, and have a nice day. Bye bye. Yeah, bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Linda, Beverly, you. Thank you.